Hi everyone, Peter Smith here again. It's Sunday night, 12th of August 2018, and I've just been watching some of Laura Southern and Stefan Molyneux videos on their Australian and New Zealand trip. Now, as you know from my accent, I grew up in Australia and I lived in Melbourne, grew up in Tasmania, but I lived in Melbourne for 13 years. And I was just staggered to find out that the Victorian police, Melbourne's in Victoria, the Victorian police charged Lauren Southern $65,000 Australian for protection. I'm staggered. I'm staggered that a pretty wee girl from Canada like Lauren needs police protection in Australia. They have gone insane out there. The place has gone to the dogs since I left. It's unbelievable that a little wee blonde girl from Canada like that needs police protection. But I guess she does, because the Antifa thugs are out there probably wanting to beat her up. And I saw one interview where she got urine flung all over her when she talked about gender just being male and female. And the more I've seen of her, the more I like her. She says there's two genders, male and female. Totally agree with her there. She thinks fathers are a good thing. Completely agree with her there. Because I'm a father and a grandfather. And fathers and grandfathers do play with their kids more. And they're different to the mothers and the grandmothers. We're important. When you don't have fathers, you get bad results in families. You're much better off with a mother and father bringing up kids. Much better for the kids. And I also watched some pathetic Kiwi interviewer called Patrick Gower, who got skinned alive by Stefan and Lauren with this interview. I couldn't believe that he was so inept, this interviewer. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed for him. And then I saw a quip from this show where he's on New Zealand television trying to say what a great job he did. It was absolutely laughable. And you wonder why the mainstream media is going down the tubes. And I just heard about Alex Jones being flung off YouTube. You see, these big, powerful mainstream media boys and girls, they don't like the competition. And they can see YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all the other sorts of stuff putting them out of a job. And to be quite honest, recently, I've hardly watched any television at all. I watch a fair bit of stuff on YouTube that I'm interested in and follow different people. Hardly need a television anymore. And when you see the news from the mainstream media, I wouldn't trust them. Would not trust them. So now, having watched and listened to the Stefan's 10th of August speech he was going to give in New Zealand, I can see why they didn't want him. Because he's speaking against Indigenous rights. Now, I'll let you into a little secret. I went back to my old high school in Tasmania for the 50th anniversary. Right? I left in 1965, so in was it 2010? Yes, 2000 and can't work it out. 2005. 2005. No, 15. 2015 I went back. And I went down to my school and they had a Tasmanian Aboriginal flag there. I thought, well, they didn't have any of them when I was there. We were taught there were no full-blooded Aboriginals. And I went to the Tasmanian Aboriginal people's place there in Hobart, and they had this funny sketch with these sort of freeways running about up on top and these wonderful noble savages running around underneath. And I thought, that's a bit of a Bit of propaganda here, bit of propaganda. But Stefan's saying we shouldn't be giving out money to Indigenous peoples. And I thought, oh, well, the Indigenous peoples aren't going to be liking this. Oh, that's a lot of money involved with these things. Same with the Tasmanian Aboriginal peoples. They're getting all this money. And people go, well, we stole the land. Land got took over. Same as land's been taken over all around the world. It's about how just about every bit of land's ever been occupied by someone. You take it over. There's a bit in the Old Testament where there was a tribe of Dan was looking for a bit of space in the Holy Land, and scouts went off, and there was this little group, and the land was good. Weren't allied to anyone else, no friends, anyone, just came in and took them all over, wiped them out. And I'm not saying you should wipe people out. I'm not promoting genocide or anything. It's been a reality. Genghis Khan did the same thing. The Romans did the same thing. The ancient Greeks did the same things. Babylonians, same things. The Persian Empire did the same thing. All did the same thing. And the British Empire, I see I get into trouble here saying British Empire. Probably about the most benign empire there ever was. They brought the rule of law all around the world, brought the gospel around the world, unbribable magistrates and judges, great infrastructure. Yeah, there was negative parts too, but there's good and bad in everything. But anyway, I now understand why there was such a furor about Lauren and Stefan and their talk in New Zealand, because the Kiwis are so PC. They'd have all fallen apart. They're so brittle, they'd have cracked into pieces and fallen to bits if they'd have had to have them over to speak. Oh, and they got cancelled. And these people on the TV news affairs, they're joking about how they've lost out. I hope they sue this place for breach of contract, because that's what it was. Breach of contract. They had a contract to use this venue, and the owner caved. Oh, I bet he got some pressure. But there should be a lawsuit, because if you have a contract and one side breaks it, there should be financial compensation. It's only fair and just. So I hope that happens. I really do hope they sue the pants off the Kiwis. That'd be really good. Oh, and all the other thing I noticed there was Lauren Southern can use a gun. Now, we had a Canadian lady lobbying with us at the UN many years ago. I can't remember her name now, but she was good with a gun. And the feminists at the UN were terrified of her. I can use a gun. I grew up with a gun. But the feminists just cannot handle a lady that's good with a gun. And there was one, I believe, that was very good with a gun. She was the governor of Alaska, vice presidential running mate some years ago with John McCain. And apparently she was good. She was good with a rifle when it came to caribou season. And she had a cost-cutting campaign, I believe, and dismissed her bodyguard because I heard from someone that she was packing heat in the handbag. And that doesn't mean there was a heater in the handbag. That means she had a small firearm in the handbag. And if you'd have been foolish enough to try and attack Sarah Palin, you might have been eating lead. I hope I don't have to explain that. So I can really understand why the Kiwis were really upset. Maoris are upset. Feminists are upset over there. The homosexuals, the multiculturalists, they're all upset. But I really, really do hope that they sue them. They sue that chap who broke his contract. It will be wonderful. Now, I also saw This other chap. I'm just trying to work out. No, I didn't write it down. Computing Forever, Irish chap. He was doing a good job on what happened to Lauren and Stefan. It was great to hear one of the paddies giving it loudy, as we'd say. It was great. It was great. Got some good friends in Ireland. They're a great bunch of people. So I'm just sharing with you that I now understand, because the Aussies and the Kiwis are going down this politically correct route, and they don't get a lot of visitors like Stefan and Lauren. And I know Mark Stein's been out there occasionally, but they're very isolated. They don't get many visitors like that. Not too many visitors like that. And the other thing that's going on is that at the UN they have a permanent Indigenous forum, and they're thinking about getting a treaty on Indigenous rights. And as Stefan was saying, you follow the money. And I've always said that. Follow the money. And you see, if you can squeeze some money out of the white people because of the white guilt, well, there's a lot of that, there's a lot of the folding stuff involved. And I'm pretty sure this Indigenous forum, I haven't been too involved with it. You see them all in their special Indigenous dress and things. Very colourful, very colourful. I've been thinking of going along in a Scottish kilt. The accent's not quite there, but I'm sure they wouldn't pick that up. I could go along as an Indigenous Scotsman. I had a Scottish great-grandfather. I wonder how they'd go accepting me as Indigenous, because we're all Indigenous to somewhere. But I'd probably get laughed out of the place, and don't look that good in a kilt. Only worn kilt a couple of times. But this permanent Indigenous forum, now they're looking at having a convention or a treaty on it, and I think they're working up how much money we can squeeze out of the developed countries for compensation. Oh, I'm sure that's what it's all about. And you see, Stefan and Lauren sort of upsetting the apple cart a bit out in Oz and Kiwi land. They're just not used to it. They're isolated out there. It's a long way from anywhere. It's 30 hours on the plane, by the time you've got connections and different other things. It's a long way to go. Not that many people go. There's nice places. Lovely places. Lovely place where I lived in Australia, in Tasmania. Beautiful, beautiful places. Lots of good jobs, good economies. Bit of controlled immigration in Australia. You don't get any boat people landing there illegally. That's all been sorted out. The Royal Australian Navy and the Royal Australian Air Force intercept any boats with illegal immigrants coming down from Southeast Asia. You don't try and get into Australia that way. No, there's been years since they've had anyone try and come that way. They've sorted that out. A lot of countries could do with copying the Australian system. Yeah. And it's just immigration system based on merit and different other things. But do we really need all those immigrants? That's the big question. Possibly not. If we had a few more kids ourselves, we wouldn't need all those immigrants. It'd be a lot simpler, a lot easier. But there you go. People get very upset with me talking about those things. Oh, be racist, or be whatever. This a phobe, that a phobe, something a phobe. There's always a phobe for something, and there's always a name you can call people. Now, the other interesting thing is they were talking. Stefan had this dumb interviewer, Kiwi interviewer. Patrick Gower was talking about right and left, and Stefan said, "Well, define right and left. What's far right? What's alt right? What's far left? Far left, is that Stalinist Russia, where 60 million got done in the gulags and the firing squads and the shallow graves, and Or Mao's far left China. Maybe only 60 million got slaughtered there in the big revolution and the cultural revolution and the rest of it. I think they had 42 million die in a famine Mao Zedong induced. Pol Pot, well, he wiped out about a quarter of Cambodia. Or they might be talking about Venezuela, where they're slowly starving to death. Maybe that's. I'm not sure if that's far left, right. But what's far right? See, they'll talk about the Nazis, but they're the National Socialist Party, and a lot of the policies there are socialist, not capitalist. See, they talk about that as right. I don't see how that's right. Right wing. But anyway, you can't sort of get any definitions on that. The same with hate speech. So they're going about hate speech. Oh, you can't come in because of hate speech. Oh, you upset people. Well, a lot of people get upset over all sorts of little things. And it's a wonderful excuse to try and shut people up, to say, oh, we'll be upset. I see if a man says that to me, I say, man up. I'm a little bit more chivalrous with the ladies, you know. You can't sort of woman up. I've never heard of that saying, you know. But man up for the lads, you know. Get upset, bad luck. Bad luck, you know. See, people can criticise the Christians and the pro-lifers and the conservative people and the white people. It doesn't matter if we're upset. They couldn't care less if we're upset. But if they're upset, oh, well, that's a different matter, isn't it? And you see, equality is a big thing, you see. If we're all allowed to get upset at the same rate, that's good, you know. But see, if I said, oh, you're upsetting me by calling me a far-right fundamentalist, homophobe, anti-choice, misogynist bigot, and I got upset at that, and they'd laugh, just laugh, you know. And I say, well, I've had all these special meetings for women. Oh, well, every day's man's day. Well, I guess it is, you know. About 92% of workplace deaths are from men. It's definitely a man's day every day. And workplace injuries, and we probably die 5 years before the ladies, but every day's a man's day. That's what they say. A lot of nonsense. The discrimination against men is incredible in the developed world. At the UN, it's unbelievable. I've been going there nearly 24 years now. It's unbelievable fairyland what they go on with there. Just total unreality. We talk about it. If you come to the UN with me, I say you've got to take your brain out and put an unbrain in your head, or it just doesn't seem to work for you over there. It's a crazy place. And these radical feminists and the pro-aborts and all the LGBTQ, oh, and there's P now, the pedophiles. See, they're claiming the pedophiles as in sexual orientation. I knew this was coming. Just a matter of time. It's a crazy world. So I just thought I'd do a little bit of an update. There's been lots of people watching my rants. Oh, that's another thing. This Patrick Gower from New Zealand said to Stefan's rant. See, he just couldn't answer Stefan, because Stefan was talking about different IQs for different people groups, and because it was a rant. He couldn't answer it. He'd never struck anyone like Stefan Molyneux. And I would not wish to be a hostile interviewer for Stefan Molyneux. He is a great debater. I've seen people trying to argue with him on his show. I think these people are idiots. They haven't got a chance against someone like that. He eats them alive. Because people don't know how to argue and put the facts. No clue, most people, because they don't seem to be taught that anymore at school. You're just force-fed this propaganda. It's not healthy, not healthy at all. Anyway, that's all I've got tonight. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. It's amazing how many people have subscribed and watched stuff lately. It's just amazing. Oh, and I caught a big heap of fish just Friday night. Wonderful. Had some those little things like cod, pollock, and some nice pollock. It was good. A bit rough out there, but I enjoyed it. It was only about 5 foot swell. And the fish didn't seem to mind down 60 feet deep. They couldn't feel the swell. So I had a great day out there. And then on Saturday there was the Prestwick Promenade and Community Gift Exchange. Had a little shop down there, little kiosk showing what we're doing and stuff. It was great. And went along church this morning and Broken Chains this afternoon. Had a great day. And then I went up to check on my boat and I forgot to get my fishing rods because I'm going down the Lake District next week to see George and Jan Bell, some old friends. Do a bit of work on their property down there, maybe a bit of fishing, catch up on a few things. So I'm not sure if they've got internet down there, but might do something when I'm there. Just to introduce you to George and Jan. So thanks for watching, and God bless you.